The role of the adult in educational setting by Maggie Blangoya. So, does adult in school equals a teacher? The traditional view is the teacher is someone who delivers the knowledge, someone who teaches, someone responsible for the process of learning. So there's some learning theories and the role of the adult. There are three main theories: behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. So the behaviorism, I bring out the points. How does learning occur? Learning is an external process and is acquired by stimuli and response, stimulus response. All adults have a dominant one-way role, one-way process from the adult to the child. That also children are empty vessels, ready for everything to be poured in. Also, adults' role is to pass their knowledge, use positive or negative reinforcements. Teacher-centered adults dominate the learning environment. In cognitivism, the learning occurs, it's an internal process, a result of a student processing and organizing new information, input, process, output, learning. And adults have an important two-way role. Again, it is a dominant role. Adults' role is to take care of the input, to organize, guide, and shape children's knowledge and understanding. And in constructivism, knowledge is constructed by adapting new information based on previous experience, meaning created by each learner. Adults have an important two-way role. Again, the role is to present the knowledge, but it's more student-centered environment. The basic beliefs and assumptions behind them all are that children can't or are incompetent to learn by their own. Second, they need to be told, instructed, motivated, pushed into learning. Otherwise they won't learn, or at least won't learn the right stuff and will waste their time playing or doing not important things. They need adults to tell them what are the right and important. And the fourth, the knowledge is in the hands of the adults. Adults are the only ones who can provide the knowledge. So what is different now that changes the role of the adult? What do we know more than that we didn't before? First, knowledge is everywhere versus knowledge is in the hands of the adults, teachers, and reachable, accessible only by them. So until the Industrial Revolution, one of the most important roles of the adults in human society was to pass on their past experience to the younger generations in order to prepare them for the future. For thousands of years, people knew exactly what their children would do when they grew up. There was a fixed order to the world. As a child, born into particular professional and social status, was expected to have the same occupation as the one all the previous generations of the family had had. This fact gave considerable importance and value to the knowledge and experience of adults. The appearance of printing in the 17th century created revolutionary change. Knowledge was less and less in the hands of the privileged. The mechanism which replaced the ancient traditions was based on a new definition of what was perceived as important knowledge or knowledge worthy of propagation as opposed to the unimportant knowledge. The nature of important knowledge was determined by an intellectual elite, scientists and people of academic politics. Thus, the children received filtered education, which had the approval of the intellectual elite and the relevant political and governmental factors. And as a result, the youth's dependence on adult experts was perpetuated. The information revolution that has been going on in the past 30 years has fundamentally changed the old patterns of propagation. the internet enables every individual, regardless of age or social standing, to seek, find, and spread information. The meaning of this is the loss of the advantage the adults and teachers as propagators of information and as decision makers with regard to the filtering of the information to be passed on to youth. So the change in the relationship between children and adults is evident in the education system, but the system is imprisoned in its fixated patterns of thinking and is having difficulty adjusting to the change. Education systems all over the world have begun to lose control because of the tools that worked well in the past, that gave the adults their status and authority over the youngsters, can no longer work in the world trying to adopt a democratic culture. Carl Rogers has said teaching and the imparting of knowledge makes sense in an unchanging environment. But if there is one truth about modern man, it is that he lives in an environment which is continually changing. Carl Rogers has also said, the only man who is educated is the man who has learned how to learn. The man who has learned to adapt to change. And the man who has realized that no knowledge is secure, that only the process of seeking knowledge gives a basis for its security. What do we know more that we did not know before? Children are not empty vessels to fill in. They are born with unique personal strength, talents and potential that they naturally want and are able to express and develop if they are allowed to. Human beings are born naturally curious. We don't need to motivate them to learn. They want to explore and learn. Psychologist Carl Rogers made significant contributions to the field of education. He maintained that all human beings have natural desire to learn. Therefore, failure to learn is not due to the person's inability to learn, but rather to problems with the learning situation. Children come into the world biologically designed to educate themselves, says Peter Gray. Learning is a process different for everybody. Everybody has its own style of learning and pace and ways of connecting the dots and making sense of the world and knowledge. One size does not fit all. And real learning happens when it's an active activity of the learner. And John Holt said, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of learners. So, do they need adults at all? What is the ultimate role of the adults? Even though they can explore, discover and learn by themselves, and they don't need us to motivate them to learn or teach them or constantly provide knowledge, they still need adults around them to support them in their development and learning, serve as a role models to learn from how to adapt and be in the existing society and culture. The child's goal is to grow and develop their potential, and the adult's role is to support and assist the child on his or her path, to support this process as it goes by. So the ultimate role is to support the growing and the learning of the child. Learning always happens one way or another. It can happen in more difficult way or easier way. Certain conditions make it flow more difficult or more easy. So the role of the adult in connection to learning, supporting, it guarantees better conditions for learning. Our present helps define the learning goals and objectives, and how to achieve them serves as a role model. An adult role is to ensure the presence of good conditions for learning and make sure there are no obstacles on this path, provide safety, security, and adult takes care of First, safe environment. Second, safe and trustful relationship. And third, access to resources, knowledge and opportunities, widening possibilities versus narrowing possibilities. So, about safe environments, physically and psychologically. Human brain cannot learn in the presence of fear and stress. It cannot focus on learning, it can only focus on surviving. The thinking lobes in the prefrontal cortex shut down when a brain is in stress, in fear, anxiety, and pain. When we hear brain in stress and pain, we tend to think of severe neglect or abusive experience and relationships. But this is not necessarily true. Such brain can also be tired, hungry, worried, rejected, ashamed, charged, or detached brain, expressing feelings of isolation, worry, angst, and fear. Also humiliation, pointing mistakes, judgments, criticism, competitions, labeling like lazy, stupid, etc. All these things, they block learning. So in order to support learning and curiosity, the adult's role is to ensure safe environment. Now about safe and trustful relationship. The most important relationship in education is the one between the teacher and the student. Mutual respect and trust allows everyone to navigate the learning process. It's a two-way street that starts with the attitude of the adult who models. Ralph Waldo Emerson has said that the secret in education lies in the respecting the student. Timothy Hilton says building relationships with students is by far the most important thing a teacher can do. Without a solid foundation and relationships built on trust and respect, no quality learning will happen. More about safe and trustful relationships. Respect must regularly be modeled by teachers. When a teacher refuses to be respectful to their students, it creates a natural barrier that hinders student learning. Students will not thrive in an environment. An atmosphere of mutual respect means that the result in a classroom where more learning takes place as students feel safe, motivated, and respected. So what is a rich learning environment? It's an access to resources, knowledge, and opportunities for learning. So to say, widening possibilities versus narrowing possibilities. So providing rich environment is not about how fancy it looks, but what it has inside. It is full of books, textbooks, encyclopedias, markers, paint, musical instruments, Lego toys, different materials for free usage and experiments. In present and supports the child through its own researches and exploration in the learning process is the role of the adult in connection to support for the learning of the child, presence, time and attention supporting the child's learning process. So that with that help they can define their learning goals and objectives, how to achieve them, make a plan how to achieve them, what resources are needed, what are the ways to get them, teacher, books, movies, practice. Also meetings, genuine interest, open questions, active listening, reflection. Open questions and active listenings for the beginning are, for example, what is important for you to know, to learn, what is interesting for you, what are your learning desires, what do you want to learn, what do you want to know, how would you define goals, etc. Open-ended questions and active listening during the process of learning are: what is difficult? What stops you, prevents you from continuing? What has helped before in such situations? What do you need more? Do you need time, rest, different learning resources, different approach, etc.? And for the end, what did you like and enjoy about this journey, or what didn't? What was difficult? What did you learn? What do you still want to learn? How can you meet these learning needs? There are some examples of to fill in my learning goals, different ways to see, what to use, reflecting questions to improve learning, examples of the reflecting questions, metacognitive questions for learning, reflection questions to improve learning. So the role model for attitude towards others is respect, trust. It means we model what we want to see from kids. We don't assume they have to do it just because we say so. They need to see us. Respect, trust, be kind, compassionate, attentive, empathic, in order to learn how to be. The role model for attitude towards learning is: do you still learn consciously and on purpose? Do you enjoy learning? How to learn best? These are the questions. And the tasks before were sets the learning goals, and tasks now are supports students set goals, supports the learner identify his needs and desires. Before there were organizers, before it was organized, the learning process. And now support students organize their learning process, set a plan and steps according to their identified learning goals, decides what kind of support he needs and how to get it, how the progress will be tracked. And tasks before were provides the knowledge, and now support students reach the knowledge skills they have by providing resources and ideas how to reach the resources. Tasks before were evaluates the truth, and now supports the child to choose a way to track their own progress, to reflect on their own achievements. Before, it was so that it gives orders, instructions to be followed by students, but now it works in collaboration with the child towards defining what they need and achieving their goal. Before is listened to, and now listens to children. So the role of the adult in connecting to growing, the role of the mentor. Growing isn't just about learning. Childhood is not just a period and a process in which one learns. Childhood is a process in which a person lives, experiences, struggles, changes, grows. And the period is full of unknown things, experiences and challenges, difficulties, relationships, events, emotions, fears, failures, questions, etc. The questions, not the ones that textbooks are full of, the ones that life is full of. Ambivalent, ambitious, contradictory, philosophical, more than one answer, no right answer, about friendship, relationship, fears, risks, love, betrayal, and how to act on this or that situation. And last but not least, childhood. This is a period associated with many physiological changes in the child, part of growing up. Additional challenges such as learning disabilities, illness, family instability, and divorce may further compound the child's difficulties. No child should have to navigate this path alone. Mentoring is a relationship between the child and the adult, based on the trust and unconditional acceptance, in which the adult supports the child through his/her growth and daily life challenges and all those emotions, anxieties and hesitation, events, situations that accompany this process. And mentoring is based on the knowledge that a caring and supportive mentor can make normal life struggles more manageable and hopeful. With an adult mentor's encouragement and guidance, children can learn to believe in themselves, and this self-confidence positively impacts their social, familial and school relationship and performance. So individualized attention, genuine interests and positive interactions significantly boost the child's self-esteem. A positive role model can help a child navigate their world, minimize confusion and help them solve problems. Every child deserves someone whose eyes light up when they enter the room, says Dr. Jean Clinton. Every child needs at least one adult who is irrationally crazy about him or her, by Uri Bronfenbrenner. Every child deserves someone who does not impose expectations on him or her, sees them as they are, unconditionally accepts them for who they are. Every child deserves someone who believes in them. So this is what mentoring process and mentor is: presence, acceptance and support in the process of growing and life challenges and difficulties. A mentor is simply someone who is there for you without hidden agenda about you, without expectations for you. The role of the mentor is to be a confident and close person of the child, someone the child trusts. Be actively present in the child's life, decisions, choices, and accompanies the child on the path chosen by him. The role of the mentor is also to know the child, past and history, strengths and weaknesses. The mentor knows this child's journey to this point, with history, family, kindergarten, traumas, difficult moments, important moments, challenges. And the role of the mentor is to accept the child the way. The role of a mentor is also to listen to the child and his experiences, emotions, needs, struggles, challenges and desires. The mentor's role is also to help self-discovery process, helps the child identify and define his or her interests. To present various ideas, options, paths, possibilities to the goals that the child has set for himself or herself. Observe and monitor together with the child the achievement of goals, the development of interest, the development of the child himself. So what is not a mentor? First, does not manipulate a decision or choice, does not criticize, condemn, model or shape a deliberate opinion, feeling, does not direct to a specific action, does not point to a single right path. The mentor does not have his own goals for the child, but helps him to identify his own and follow them, offers different options for following them, helps to identify the advantages and disadvantages of each of them, leaves the child to make his own choices, believes in the ability of the child to cope. And how does mentoring process happen? First, establishing an intention and relationship of acceptance, Respect and complete trust in the child's abilities and potential. Second, to getting to know the child, exploring the child's past as it is part of the child. Also, regular presence, attention time and focus for the child and being there for the child. Regular individual meetings. Listen to the child and what is present for him or her. The things that interest or challenge the child. Also to reach understanding about what the child is going through, what are the challenges. And support towards solution with open questions and exploration. With questions helps to expand the child's own self-awareness. So what are the skills and qualities? Self-awareness, observational skill to observe without interpretation, patience, listening skills, communication skills, empathy, and willingness to grow and learn.